Hello, and welcome to the YouTube series that not a single person asked for, but you are getting because I am forced to be on YouTube. So, cheers to that. My name is Mel. I am the human part of the Mel and Moose duo. And if you missed last week's episode, that's okay. But just to give you a little idea of why I'm here, first, it's because scammers are impersonating me and creating fake YouTube pages. So this is my attempt to get people to follow the legitimate one. And two, I also saw this as an opportunity to create a little bit longer video about some of the questions people have about Moose, or just talk about some of our experiences with him that people have been bringing up or wanting to know more about. So here we are. And also, if you watched last week's episode, I was sick and I told you, hey, I'm not going to be sick for next week. Well, that was a lie. I am on like day 10 or 11 or 12 or something of a sinus infection. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. I have tried so many over-the-counter medications. I've done like nasal flushes. I've been trying allergy medicine. I have like a humidifier running at all times and nothing's working. So please give me your tips because I am tired of myself. Anyways, so welcome to this week's episode. Last week was kind of just an intro. But this week I really want to dive into literally day one with Moose. So how we found him. And this is, I think, the first example of many where Brady doesn't say no to me when I get something in my head. So let's get into it. So when Moose came into our lives, Brady and I had been together for about a year and we had just moved into our first house together. It was a rental. And dogs weren't really on the table. Brady had, we'd had the conversation about wanting to get a dog at some point, but, he was pretty adamant on let's wait until we own a house together and we can for sure have a dog and we're ready for that, or we get a house with a little bit more property for a dog to run around on. And now keep in mind, this rental, it did have a pretty decent yard. It was probably on about a quarter acre, so it's not bad. It's better than nothing, but he said no dogs, let's just wait. Okay, that's fine. And he also did say that when he wanted a dog, he did want a male lab. So Brady is very big into hunting, shed hunting, scouting in the woods, just walking through the woods, doing all things outside. So he had said if he were to get a dog, he would want a breed that, was bred for certain things like that. So could track deer, or could find deer antlers, or could help find deer trails in the woods, things like that. So was very adamant about just getting a dog that was bred for hunting. No problems here with that. I didn't really grow up with dogs, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Labs are cute. Like, let's go with that. Okay, so flash forward to 2019 when Moose came into the picture then. At this time I was not working. I had moved and had just moved in with Brady and didn't have a job yet. And keep in mind, this was pre-COVID, so nothing was remote, and the job pool for my area of expertise was limited. There were maybe like one or two cropping up a month. And I was going on a lot of interviews, but I wasn't securing any of these jobs. So I started to feel really just kind of down about myself. I was feeling pretty sad. I was feeling like I wasn't holding my end of the weight. And granted, our rent was really cheap at that time, and I was donating plasma, which, again, this is 2019 pre-COVID. Groceries were cheap, so plasma was able to cover all of our groceries. But I was still feeling just kind of worthless. Like, if I had to be completely honest, my mental health was not great. I felt like I just wasn't really succeeding at anything. I was laying in bed a lot because what else was I going to do? And just felt like I didn't really have anything good. So one day I was sitting just like rotting away on our couch scrolling on Facebook, and I happened to see a college friend of mine shared a post that some family friends of hers had lab puppies for sale. And there was a phone number to call, and immediately I knew that this was something I needed. Like, this this made sense. Like, this was a sign to me. This was my something good that was being presented to me. So I immediately called the phone number without checking with Brady first, without even checking with our landlord if we could have a dog, but obviously it worked out. I called the guy and I asked if he had any male puppies left, specifically a chocolate, because I wanted a chocolate. And he goes, we do. We have one male chocolate. Are you interested? And I said 100% yes. When can we come meet him? And we set up some time to meet that weekend. So I had to go ahead and call Brady and say, hey, just so you know, we're driving like 3 hours on Sunday to go meet a lab puppy. Don't make any plans. And Brady was not in favor of this. He said, again, now is not the time. We don't need to do this. I don't think this is a good idea. And I said, no, like, we need to go meet this. Like, I already told the guy we're coming. So we're going to meet the guy. And Brady's like, okay, like, we'll go meet the puppy, but we're not making any promises. We don't have to give him money. We might not even like the dog. We might not, we might get kind of weird vibes from the guy, things like that. And the whole way there that Sunday, I just remember Brady, this isn't guaranteed. Like, I'm not saying we're bringing home a puppy. He was the one very cautious and skeptical and kept kind of saying no, but my gut said this is gonna work out. We got there and we met who becomes Moose in our lives. And when I say Brady fell in love immediately, I mean, you could literally just see the change in his, in his eyes and his demeanor and his actions. This was his dog. There was no, it was love at first sight for Brady. It was kind of funny too, while we were playing with Moose and some of the other puppies, every time I would try and call Moose over to me and try to hold him and try and play with him, he would literally take off and run to Brady. Like, that was Brady's dog. There was no question about it. So we ended up, obviously, giving the deposit to hold Moose. And I think it was 3 or 4 weeks before we were able to bring him home. I think they were maybe 4 weeks old when we met him. So we had to wait a couple more weeks. But yeah, then we got to go home and ended up getting to make the awkward call to our landlord, like, hey, we're getting a dog. Just want to make sure that's okay. And it was, obviously. We just had to pay a little bit more in rent, but truly the best decision. So, I mean, there was no thought that went into it. There was no, looking for a dog from a specific breeder. There was no, hey, we want one with these specific characteristics. I saw a post on Facebook, knew this girl really well, trusted that these are probably good puppies, and literally went from there. The guy kind of asked us when we first met Moose, what are you looking for, things like that, and Brady just said, we wanted a male lab, and he goes, I'm actually hoping for, I've always wanted a really big lab. And the guy goes, yeah, I'm not sure, they're gonna get that big. He goes, if I had to guess, maybe somewhere between like 70 to 80 pounds would probably be my guess, just based on dad's weight and based on mom's weight. But he did say there are some in the family, so the mom's brothers got to the size of miniature horses, is how he described them. So he said, I'm not eliminating the possibility that this puppy will get big, but the likelihood of it, passing 80 pounds is unlikely. Moose was 80 pounds by 8 months, and if you know anything about dogs, they are not done growing at 8 months. So Moose is just over 100 pounds now and truly grew into his name. He was never supposed to get this big, but I love my big giant baby, so no complaints there. And as far as how we picked out his name, that was just another thing that Brady kind of grew up wanting. So he told me he had wanted a dog named Bear or Moose, and I did not like the name Bear, and I also didn't think he looked like a bear. So I mean, he was immediately a moose from the time we were first sent pictures. So we knew that that was going to be his name from the time we first literally saw a picture of him. But so yeah, we brought Moose home a couple weeks later, and I knew that this was going to be good for me, but this dog gave me a reason to get out of bed. This dog, to be completely blunt, I feel like gave me a purpose again. So obviously I did end up getting a job and going back to work, and life is good in that sense. But for those couple months when I wasn't working, he was exactly what I needed. So I was able to love on something and have something to keep me company during the day. And, you know, it gave me a mission every day, trying to teach this little crazy fur ball how to pee outside and not on the landlord's carpet. And we practiced like finding sheds outside, and you know, we went for super short walks, and you know, we were just playing, and it was truly really good for me. So you know, maybe a little bit of a selfish reason why I even jumped on the opportunity, but that is what my heart and soul needed at the time. So you know, when I say this dog is my life and this dog is probably my soul dog, and when I say this dog means the entire world to me, I'm not being dramatic. This dog came into my life for a reason and has been with me in my hardest days, and he has brought some of the best days to me. So we are just so grateful that he came into our lives by complete accident. He has been the best dog, and we are so excited for so many more good years with him. That is a little bit of history on how we ended up with the best boy in the whole world. Again, if there are more things you want to hear about or questions you have that you want addressed, leave them in the comments, shoot me a message on one of our other social media platforms, whatever, and we'll consider doing content on that. And also another little thing from last week, I know I asked everyone to vote on their favorite Moo News logo. I've been sick, life has been a little busy with some other things, so I haven't even looked to see what people's favorite was. So I'm going to drop them here again. Go ahead and vote if you haven't already, and I will try and look through those before next week to see what the favorite is. So thank you again if you made it this far watching. We appreciate you. We truly appreciate everyone who's subscribed to our page and wants to follow along with this journey. So thank you, and we will see you next week. Bye.